Good day everyone, we're going to have a look at IQ and how to import stock items into the system. A few things just to take into account is that we're currently not going to update already existing stock items. We are just going to import new stock items. So how do I do that? I go to stock, go to utilities, and then I go to stock price update. Under stock price update, you will see a blank screen like this. The moment that we import the items, it's going to be reflected on the screen. Then to see how the file structure should look like, I can go to load import file and I can click on generate example file. Now I've already created the example file for us, so we are going to have a look at that. So when you click on generate example file, it's going to bring up a file like this. It's going to be in a comma delimited format, and it's going to give you some details. So this is a whole list of different columns that you can import into IQ. You will see it goes all the way down. It's quite a lot of them. What I would like to look at the moment is, and what we use for general import, is only certain columns. So if we import certain columns, just certain columns or the minimum specified columns, we would use code, barcode, department, descript, which is short for description, regular supplier, average cost, sell price 1, 2, 3, and very important, our VAT rate. So this is the bare minimum that IQ requires when you import new stock items. One thing to take into account or make sure of is your department numbering. If you've got specific departments set up in IQ, make sure that this number corresponds with what you have in the IQ system. I'm going to show you an example of my departments that I do have in the system. We're just going to go to utilities, setup, module parameters. We would like to have a look at stock, and we would like to have a look at major departments, and I click on setup. So the department field refers to this department that's already created in IQ. So we need to use this specific number when we import new stock items. It's not going to allow us to do anything or allow us to import a specific stock item if that department does not exist. So let's go back to our stock file or our Excel file that we've prepared with all our stock items, the barcodes, the department, the description, regular supplier, and the rest of the details. If you do not have a regular supplier that you would like the stock item to refer to, you can use, or actually just empty that column to say that, listen here, we do not have a regular supply at the moment, or you can actually add a regular supply in there. I'm just going to leave it open, and I'm just going to put in one here for us just to just as an example to show you what the effect would be if the regular supply doesn't exist and if the department doesn't exist. Now we've got our Excel file prepared. We would like to import these items. Very important, just the last thing is make sure that you know the selling price that you've entered here. Is it inclusive or exclusive? We're going to be prompted to select yes or no to say, listen here, this prices that you have here, is it inclusive of that or exclusive of that? And then very important, our last column, which is our VAT rate. I go to file. I go to save a copy. I'm going to save this as a comma delimited file. And I'm just going to put it right where I need it, just somewhere easy. So saving it on the desktop, I'm just going to change the file type, so it's going to be comma delimited. One thing to also remember is when you're busy with importing stock items and you would like to go back to the file and maybe amend something and rerun the import, As a rule of thumb, I usually save the file first as a normal Excel file, and I save it so that I can go back always and have a look at this file afterwards. Then after that, I just select again file, save as on my PC. It's already on the desktop, so I'm just going to change the file format. Going to change it to comma delimited. Also remember, there's a lot of different comma delimited formats. Choose this one that says CSV, comma delimited, and then save. Right, so my file has been saved, and I can now just copy it to the server or copy it to where you need it to be, and import that into IQ. So let's go back to our IQ screen. I'm going back to stock utilities, stock price update. I'm going to load my import file and click on import. I'm going to select where I saved the document. I've saved it here on my desktop. Stock import file, double click on it. It will actually run through all the different steps, and if I go right up top in this file, it will show me a few columns. The first one will say if there's an error with importing your stock item, or if there's a specific field that it would refer to. For instance, this one where it says invalid regular supplier. So I purposely added a regular supplier that doesn't exist on the system, so it won't import these items, as well as the red items here at the bottom of the file. It will not import that ones. Only the ones that's just written in black, that's the ones that it will import. So let's just quickly have a look at our file. What columns do we have here? We've got our code and description, we've got our department, we've got our barcode, average cost, we've got it there, selling prices 1, 2, 3, we've got it there. So in the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to say process. It's going to ask us for an identifier or order number or reference number. That's just for yourself to go back to the system, have a look at it. It's going to do an entry so that you know, listen here, this was a stock import and we've done it on a specific date, or we've got a specific reference, and or we can say this was Alex, he did the import and it's the 17th, and we click on OK. When I click on OK, remember we spoke about the inclusive or exclusive pricing. Please specify the imported sell prices if they are inclusive or exclusive. So this is where you click the selection. Let's say I would like to say this is exclusive pricing, and I click accept. Very important to remember, and something that we didn't touch on, if you would like to import average cost details, average cost is exclusive of VAT. Also remember that when you prepare your file, when you import a average cost, it's exclusive of VAT. Very important, we're not referring to existing items that we would like to import. This is just if you want to import new items. When it's existing items, there's a few things to remember. If you're importing average cost, it's actually going to do a stock adjustment and it's going to revalue your stock. That's very important to remember. So if it's existing items that you would like to change, then you're going to have a problem where you actually need to make sure that the average cost is correct. So I'm just going to click on accept. Then I'm just going to say okay, yeah, because it's telling me items that didn't import will remain in the grid and you can review them. Great, so let's just go back to the first column, just see what this was. Okay, I remember it was the one that said invalid regular supply and then invalid department. I can print this out under report options preview. So over here I can have a quick look at it. There was quite a few columns or actually rows that I didn't delete, and that's why it's a big report of 10 pages. Otherwise it would only show the first 2 pages. So there we know exactly what happened here. That 260 millimeter silicone, it was an invalid regular supply. I need to go back and have a look at it, amend it, and import it again. And then the other one that said protective tape, 30 millimeters, that was an invalid department, so the department didn't exist. So I'm just going to close here, going to close there, and then my next step would be to go and have a look. Do I actually find this stock item, this one here, SFL 0044? Let's quickly go search for it. Stock inquiries, SFL, just press enter. We've got our wildcard set up, so it's just quickly searching for that in the code. There's our item, perfectly imported. Obviously it's not going to have an on hand there. You use the stock adjustments or the stock take to import on hands. It's got our average cost, it's got our selling price. Remember, we've selected that the prices that we had in our file was exclusive of VAT, so you will see that item was R1, so the pricing on my list for inclusive is R1.15. I hope this was a good video. Kindly let us know if there's any further details that you require, or contact us at support@lpropc.co.za.